Hi, this is Alani, and I'm going to tell you about the needs beneath difficult behavior. When we're facilitating a meeting and someone is being difficult, our first response is often irritation. Why won't they just cooperate so we can get things done? As the behavior continues, we tend to look at them as an object, something in our way, and if we're not careful, we can begin to label and even dehumanize them. While it's natural to think and feel these things, as a facilitator, you need to tread carefully. The less humanity you see in someone, the less likely you'll engage them in a way that meets their needs, and the more challenging they'll become. In our experience, underneath challenging behavior, there is a personal need that must be met. We generally are all good people trying to do a good thing, but when our minds and bodies are stressed, fearful, undernourished, or overworked, we become vulnerable and our defense mechanisms can get nasty. In every prevention or intervention to address difficult behavior, a facilitator is helping someone fulfill something they're lacking at that moment so they can get back to participating in a full and productive way. Trying to fulfill our needs is something each one of us is doing all the time. It's the core idea behind renowned American psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We are motivated to act based on key survival and growth needs, ranked by importance. We have basic needs like food, water, safety, and security. Psychological needs like close relationships with family and friends or feeling accomplished. And finally, we have self-fulfillment needs of achieving our full potential. Difficult behavior tends to stem from unmet needs in the lower 4 levels, often referred to as deficiency needs. When we are deficient in or deprived of any of these needs, we then become motivated to fulfill them. For example, when we don't have enough nourishment from food, we then become hungry and motivated to eat so we can get nourished. So what kind of deficiency needs might a meeting participant have? It could be something basic and foundational, like needing food or water to satisfy their hunger or thirst. Never underestimate the power of hangriness and its ability to unleash troublesome behavior. Or it could be something like needing to feel safe in the meeting space in order to contribute well. People need to feel confident they won't be physically or emotionally harmed. They won't be criticized or exposed to discrimination. From my experience, most of the core needs associated with difficult behavior are psychological and fall into the love and belonging and esteem levels. When any of us decides to devote our time to attend a meeting, we need to feel we are included, that we are seen, heard, validated, appreciated, useful, recognized, respected, and empowered. If any of these core needs aren't met, we can begin to see challenging behavior from meeting participants, such as speaking loudly, being overly adamant about their ideas, being confrontational or argumentative, or withdrawing and refusing to participate. When these deficiency needs are met, then meeting participants can enter into the growth zone of the hierarchy and begin to participate and contribute fully. But how do you know what someone's needs are? How can you tell the difference between someone needing recognition versus simply being heard? While skilled facilitators may have high social intelligence, they are rarely psychic. Instead, we make it our objective to make sure we are meeting as many of those deficiency needs as we can in the ways we structure and conduct the meeting. Some of the things you've already learned in this training can help to meet participants' core needs. Let's take co-creating the agenda, for example. This prevention technique, if led well, has the potential to fulfill several needs at once. Let's say you have a meeting coming up and you want greater buy-in on the meeting process from the outset. So you invite the meeting participants to create the agenda with you. Upon receiving the invitation, many of your participants immediately feel included and appreciated. While you're co-creating the agenda, you and your team are giving them feedback, making them feel at ease, that their ideas are heard, validated, and being used to influence the agenda. Once the agenda is complete, they can feel safe knowing what to expect in the meeting. In this example, you're more likely to have willing participants show up to your meeting because they each had a hand in creating the experience for themselves. On the other hand, there are ways we fail to see or meet participants' needs and unwittingly unleash difficult behaviors. Deficiency needs can be vicious. The longer they are denied, the stronger the motivation to satisfy them. Let's say you're giving a presentation and a meeting participant interrupts you, accusing you of poor outreach, low meeting turnout, and wasting their time. You don't want to undermine your outreach team or delay the project, so you interrupt them, stay behind the lectern, describe the extensive outreach process that was conducted, relay your regrets that more people couldn't make it, and proceed with your presentation. They interrupt you again, this time louder and angrier. What did you miss? Let's rewind. The participant interrupted your presentation to accuse you of poor outreach, low meeting turnout, and wasting everyone's time. If they had the audacity to interrupt and accuse you, chances are they will do most anything to be seen, heard, and validated, by you or by others, so it might be helpful to give them the spotlight for a little while and listen closely for other needs. Next, you stay behind the lectern. In in-person meetings, remaining where you are after someone has voiced a concern or complaint sends the message that you don't care. It could help to get closer to them. It doesn't have to be right next to them, but moving toward them shows them that you want to hear more, and on a visceral level, that you want to connect with them as a person and not just an audience member. Next, you interrupt them to make your point and describe the extensive outreach process that was conducted, relay your regrets, and proceed with your presentation. As you can guess, this move did not satisfy the need to be seen or heard at all. In fact, it completely dismissed those needs. There's an assumption that explaining the outreach process will qualify the meeting and the presentation you're giving, but that's risky. You have no idea what that person needs in order to feel that the meeting and presentation are a good use of their time. So what can you do? You could start by asking, what would it take for this meeting to be a good use of your time? Listen to their responses and check in with the other participants. Is that what you need as well? Or you could try a different approach. You could start by simply saying, tell me more, or ask them to expand on their concerns while you listen for their needs. Then, validate what they are saying, maybe by paraphrasing or empathizing. Third, explain what you've tried and say something like, if you have ideas about how we can do a better job of outreach, I'd love to talk with you more about that later. In both interventions, participants will notice that you're taking the time to hear what they need, and they'll be more willing to work with you. It's also important to keep in mind that it's not just the one participant that you're directly addressing that matters. Everyone is watching to see that you're responsive and respectful, and if you're not, you may have just put everyone else's safety needs on alert and created a bigger problem. Take the time to respond to concerns for the benefit of the group, your relationship with the group, and the agenda. Before or at your next meeting, you can use this table as a guide to anticipate and identify needs of your participants and what you can do to prevent difficult behavior or address it in the moment. Ask yourself, what can I do proactively to meet these needs? Or if you have a difficult behavior in your hands, ask, what might they be missing? And how can I help them to meet these needs? Joy and I will be showing you more specific techniques, but simply getting into a problem-solving, need-satisfying mindset will always help to prepare you for whatever comes your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the webinar.